Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Built Differently podcast. My name is Ricky Alphonse. I'm the CEO and founder of Extropian. Wanted to introduce some members of the team. Over here, we have Sean. Could you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Hey, I'm Sean Greener. I am the Director of Business Operations for Extropian. I work a lot on the business side and helping Ricky with whatever he needs. And yeah, I'm really excited to share more about what we're doing with the rest of you.
Yeah, and then also we have Justin as well. And Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself, your interests, what you're into, who you are.
Hi, my name's Justin. I've been with the company for about 9-10 months now. I first kind of met Ricky and Sean because I was doing the data analytics program. So I'm a data scientist for the company, and I'm also martial arts is a big passion of mine. So when I heard about what this company was doing, I was very interested, and yeah, we're on a roll right now. So I'm excited to be here.
Hell yeah! So Justin also put together this podcast outline, so I'm gonna let you, take the reins, ask the question, and yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing that we can start with is, this being the kind of like the inaugural sort of podcast. Ricky, can you kind of like talk about the like the background of the company, like what got you into this, what made you want to start a company, like where were you at with all of this?
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, I was always into technology, like everything from the packaging, the description of it in catalogs. Also been a huge sports fan my whole life. Growing up with my older brother, my dad. Watching sports was my thing. So when I entered college, I was basically kind of like most college kids trying to figure out what they wanted to do. We're all UCF grads on here, University of Central Florida.
Oh,
But
nice.
Oh, nice.
but Sean was in the same program I was, the sports business management program, and in there we just, it was a little different from my other college courses, and I guess it taught you to kind of step out of your comfort zone, and we learned about extraordinary people doing extraordinary things, and being somebody that always had ideas. At that time, I was working a 9 to 5. I really didn't enjoy too much. I felt like I was in a place where um, my thoughts weren't valued. I was just a number essentially. So, during the college courses, we learned about like I said, a lot of people doing extraordinary things, and it opened my eyes to, that I could make something happen with a lot of the ideas I had, and so that's why I talked to a couple of my professors in that program. Shout out to Professor Buckstein and Dr. Harrison, and they told me to pursue this. So I went ahead and I formed a company and took a shot in the dark, and it's been a learning process ever since. And for a while I was by myself alone trying to figure out how to do this, but been blessed enough to have people like Justin and Sean help me out. Agora Media, Raul, he's in the background here, but yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And we've had different variations of names and different variations of ideas, but the products remain the same, and our goals have always remained the same. So we'll probably get into that a little bit more as we go further.
Right. So, when you start a company and stuff, it's usually because, you see some sort of problem that you're trying to solve. So, like, when you looked at combat sports or sports in general, what were, generally speaking, what were, like, the big problems that you guys noticed initially?
Initially, especially in combat sports, I feel like, there's not a lot of integration of technology. There's not a lot of emphasis that kind of highlights how special these athletes are, how special these the movements of these men and women are. Um, Also, too, we thought a lot of the tools that they currently use weren't, and a lot of the tools that they use in training camp, they can't take that into the ring with them during an actual fight. They can't take it into sparring with them. So, we wanted to create something that, really helped them push past any limit that they might think they have. We wanted to create something that made them feel safe, made them feel healthy, because as we see in the combat sports, you're only as good as your last fight, and you're only as good as a lot of times your health is. So we want to create something that was comprehensive, something that gave them everything they need, like a tool that worked with them and befit their movement and athletes in general. We think that what we've created is something that's so unique and something that's diverse enough to work for all athletes and to essentially help them redefine impossible. What's possible, I should say.
And ever since I came on, I know I wasn't a huge combat sports fan when I joined, but I've become a much bigger combat sports fan since then. But even when I joined and knew nothing about combat sports, I totally could see the application. And I don't know how many times Ricky's heard this, but how many times, Ricky, have people said, "Oh, I could see this being used for this sport or this activity or this or that." It's going to be not only revolutionize combat sports, which is obviously where we're starting, but revolutionize sports in general and even just, become a thing for everyday humans too.
Yeah, and Sean, you touched on something as well because I think that's what obviously we're gonna give bits and pieces here and there. We're trying to build up to something here with everybody, but I think you touched on something where everybody that you talk to, everybody has their interests, their passions, and it's funny because every time I do show this to somebody or Sean shows it to somebody, and they have a different interest, maybe it be a sport or a casual activity, they're like, I could see it being used for this, or I could see it being used for that, or a lot of people see it being integrated into their favorite sports, just because of how diverse it is and how advanced it is. But gonna leave little pieces of red meat here and there, and eventually give you guys a full meal down the road. So
Yeah, we don't want to give too much away just yet, but it is kind of crazy when you think about like how, you know, when you look at like the technology that like the NFL uses and like the NBA, and then you get to combat sports and it's just, I don't know, it's very still like kind of like an old school sort of vibe to me, you know. So I'm glad that we can finally do something that's, gonna change that. So, well, what are we gonna do? So,
Even
go ahead.
even a sport like baseball, which is considered one of the more, like old school sports, one of the ones that's slow to adapt. Even they've been using analytics and sabermetrics and everything like that for years now, and it's become a huge thing within baseball. If you have a baseball team that doesn't have some type of technology or analytics incorporated, you're gonna be left in the dust. And I think combat sports is definitely ready for that movement as well.
Speaking of that big movement, so I think we can talk a little bit about like what is our solution. I know we don't want to give too much away just yet, but like, what would you guys want to? What do you think you guys could say about what we're building so far, just to give like a sneak peek about what's to come, essentially.
you know, one of the things that we looked at, and because obviously the idea has evolved over the years from what it first was, but one of the biggest things is that we want people to feel comfortable. We think that what we have is like the most comfortable, the most natural feeling technology out there right now. Essentially, I guess kind of the big tease is the user experience we want people to have is for them to, go about their everyday lives or whatever activity they're doing, but also while they're doing that, not feel like they have a piece of technology attached to them. You know what I mean? Um, we want you to just flow. Like one of the big things I'm into is like, kind of the way the mind works, and one of the big things is flow state. Is you know, perfect world for me would be this product and somebody just being able to get into a flow state because they're not being hindered or feel like they have something attached to them. They're able to move about and go as they please. And at the on the back end of that, they have some revolutionary data that's being produced and some new insights that they're able to get about themselves that they didn't know previously.
Sean, do you want to add anything? I don't.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sports that could, it could be the matter of inches, where an inch could make a huge difference. Combat sports no different. A punch 1 inch from the chin over here is not going to be as powerful if you hit them direct. Or it's going to be more powerful if you hit them directly. And I think, you know, any additional thing, any additional like external things that you're putting onto someone, the more weight it has, the more bulky it is, the more that's going to affect your movements, your control over your own body. A lot of people want to have a natural feeling, something that they're not being obstructed by anything, and I think that's the biggest part of what we're doing is creating a form factor that allows for as little obstruction to the user as possible.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of the device. I mean, I know we all have, and it looks so cool. It looks like the future, and yeah, I love the people that we're working with. It's very exciting. But I mean, speaking of that, like we've been talking about how like initially we wanted to focus on combat sports and how like our sort of vision for this product is like growing and stuff. But at the same time, like let's talk about like where is our company at now? Because I feel like our vision is growing, our team is growing, everything's just growing. So Ricky, can you talk about kind of like where are we now and kind of like what are the next steps that we're taking right now?
Yeah, so where we're at now is essentially just building on building out our database. Really, we're trying to perfect our algorithms. A lot of what we're doing now, we like to consider our devices and our product built by fighters. It's taking in a lot of input that fighters are giving us. One of the more fun sides of what we're doing right now is actually going into the gyms and collecting data and getting user feedback. So we're on this path where we have something incredible. It's just building it out and essentially perfecting at this point. And we feel like we're bringing in the right minds and the right people and making this happen. So right now, obviously, we're teasing a lot of things, and eventually we're going to reveal some big things to everybody. But you know, we're basically, if you're gonna make this into a fight, you know what I mean. We've trained, we're getting into the ring and we're getting ready to throw our first set of punches. And we're trying to knock everybody out, knock everybody's socks off with this technology from when we do reveal it. And with that though comes the getting in the gym and training, and that's what we're doing with our technology right now.
I like the metaphor.
And and yeah, just to reiterate what Ricky said, I mean we've got a great team in place here. Just all the way from Ricky at the top being the leader, being the idea guy, the one who's pushing us through, to the people that are on the side working directly with developing the product, developing potentially the next version of the product, and everything like that. So I mean, and then the people doing everything else, every up and down the team. We've got an all-star crew here, so you're only as good as the people you put around you, and I think Ricky understands that really well, and I think he's put together a team that's going to take this thing to the next level.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate those kind words. He's not just doing that because we're recording, but yeah, I hope at least.
No, I mean I agree. I really like the team that we have. I feel like everyone is super passionate about this. It's like a group of all stars. So we have a lot of really cool things coming up. Now, I guess the important thing to talk about now, especially since this is like the first episode, is kind of like what is going forward. What's kind of like our goals for this podcast? What do we want to talk about? Why are we doing this? What would you guys say to that?
I think one of the main things is, and I think we've hinted at it throughout this podcast, is that we have something that's new, something that's revolutionary, and I think with that comes kind of educating the public on what we have, educating the public on what we have, talking a little bit more about our technology, getting people used to this, what we think is going to be the next wave of wearable technology. Um, but also too, we want to build a community. Obviously, we talked about fighters. We've talked about the technology, but we call this podcast the Built Differently podcast for a reason because we want to invite anybody that we believe just going off the term built differently, that's different. Somebody that pushes themselves to the limit. Somebody that has amazing self belief. And in turn, we think we can build that with this technology. We can, you know, the goal is through this technology to help people push past their perceived limits. And there's people already out there, trying to do that. So we want to bring those people in. We want to have conversations with those type of people. We want to have conversations with fighters, athletes, technologists, anybody that you know is shooting for the stars essentially, because that's what we believe we're doing with this company. So, but overall, we just want to build a community of people and just a movement in general. We feel like technology's been kind of stagnant for a little while. We feel like wearable technology's been a little stale for a little while. So we just want to introduce people to something that's brand new. And if you're a little bit of a futurist and you believe in building, a stronger human essentially in the future, we want to invite you to join us in this movement. So
John, do you want to add anything?
That's tough to follow. That's tough to follow up with. But yeah, no, I think too. We're a startup company right now, but we have big dreams. We have big plans. And just kind of sharing that journey as well. Sharing where, like right now, sharing where we're at now, where we think we're gonna go, and kind of bringing people along for that journey, and they get to see us grow, get to see our company, become the next, name brand
unicorn,
that, everyone,
unicorn,
what?
unicorn.
Yeah, the next unicorn, the next company where everyone's like, oh, I know that company. Like even people who have no clue, we want them to know who we are. And I think the way that we want to do that is by allowing people to kind of see in and see, who we are and what we stand for, and giving updates along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you touched on something there, Sean, because yeah, we want to do things differently. I think that a lot of people don't get to see the inside. They don't get to see the struggle. They get to see the beautiful shiny, Apple Watch after it's on sale. We we pride ourselves on being different than other companies. You can kind of see like we're different guys. We're not these uptight kind of guys that built something in the garage or whatever, the stereotypical, startup success story. It's hard. It's difficult. It's not easy. It's sometimes frightening. You know what I mean? So we really want to bring people along for that ride, and we want to be authentic, and we want people to grow with us and learn with us, and you know see the insides and out. And we're just cool people making something that's different, something that's unique, something that's going to change the world. And yeah, we want to bring people along for that ride, because other people aren't doing that. And the hope is that we can inspire other people like ourselves that may not have had a certain backgrounds, or may have went into different areas in business, and had a dream. We want those people to come along with us on that ride, and everybody has a dream. Everybody has a dream. People just don't embark on it because they don't believe it's real, or they maybe they've been told they can't do it. So that's our goal as well, is to help people like myself. I had this dream, and I jumped into the water, feet first. And yeah, I want other people to do that in life. I think the world will be a much more beautiful place with people's visions and their dreams. We're realizing they just took a chance, and that's what we want to do. Is bring people along for that ride, and allow them to dream with us.
Very nice. The one other thing I guess I would say that like I'm excited for with this podcast is I feel like it's going to be exciting for people to kind of see our perspective of the issues that we ran into, like with combat sports, like what we were seeing. Because I feel like over the last however long it's been, we've learned a lot about these issues. We've studied a lot of these issues. We've talked to a lot of people, and we've learned a lot. And I feel like this podcast is going to be a great way for us to kind of talk about all of the information that we've learned and kind of share like why we're doing this basically. And maybe we can even get some of like the people we've spoken to in the past on this podcast, and you can hear from them too. You know, like the issues with combat sports and stuff. I think there's a lot that we could talk about. So I'm excited to share all of that in the future episodes.
Yeah, they're all part of the community already. You know what I mean? So it's essentially it's just like all of us doing this together, and that's what I want people to feel like they were part of it. Everybody that's kind of touched this thing already, that's seen it. We take input, everybody's input, and that's what we want this to be. You know what I mean? Let's build this thing together. Let's make this thing awesome. Let's change the world.
Yeah, definitely. So as far as this podcast, we're gonna try to get an episode up about once a week or so. I would say maybe about 30 minutes or so, and I think every episode we're gonna reveal something new about the company, something new about the product that we're building, or we're gonna talk about like some of the issues that we found in combat sports or things like that. And we'll even, I think the plan is we're gonna have special guests on the show at some point too, maybe.
Yeah,
wink, wink.
definitely some guests. Definitely some guests, and obviously this is the first one. It's probably going to look a little different going forward, but yeah, it's we're going to be more polished. We're going to get this thing down to a science, just like our technology, and our whole goal as well is just being the best version of yourself, and much like our technology, we want this podcast to grow and get better each time. So that's what we'll be working on.
Yeah.
And I think too, oh, sorry, Justin. Yeah, I think too, we'll talk, people will learn more about us and about our company. And then, also in addition to that, potentially talking about current events in technology or current news in technology and combat sports. When new things come up, I think usually we're going to want to talk about them. So
yeah, definitely. So
like if we spark followers and stuff, like maybe they'll have it if they have any suggestions for things they want us to discuss. That'd be a great thing too. That we can have like in future episodes, like a Q&A discussion or something like that. So there's a lot we could do with this podcast. So I'm just excited to finally get it started.
Do we want to? We kind of wanted to touch on too. Anybody that's watching this that knows us already, we were Sensei for a long time, but we kind of transitioned, and this is our coming out party is Extropian, and as we've said several times, combat athletes, that's kind of our, where we're going first with this technology. But, our goal is to make this for everybody. And so we wanted a name that was more befitting of everybody and advancing humanity. And I know Sean had a definition he's probably going to pull up for Extropian. But, we'll definitely have that posted to our socials so people know what that means, as we go forward, people, as Sean said, they're gonna get to know more about us and what we stand for, and we'll be doing that throughout these podcasts. While you get to grow and know the product, you get to grow and know us as well. So I'm not sure if you wanted to share that definition you had for Extropian, Sean.
Sure. Yeah. Basically, Extropian, in a very general term, is like the standards of continuously wanting to improve the human condition.
Yeah.
So by that, we want to help humans, to help people become better than they thought they could be, than they are right now, and and we believe that one of the best ways to do that is going to be through technology. I think that's a big extropian kind of idea is, using technology to help push that movement forward. So, and we believe that our technology can be the pioneer of that pushing forward and pushing people past what they might have thought was their limit, and getting them to a point where they're constantly evolving and constantly getting better than they were the previous
Becoming
day.
superhumans. That's what we want to create, superhumans without the serum, like all of the Marvel characters. So serumless superhuman technology, really.
It's kind of crazy that we found a term like that like describes us as well as it does. I feel like I don't know. It's just crazy to me that it like fits us so perfectly with what we're doing.
Yeah, and we're putting our own definition on it, our own spin on it as well, because it was kind of a term that was, you know, had some kind of weird connotations or whatever. But we're putting our own definition on it and defining it ourselves. So yeah,
Yeah, but like the initial definition that like Sean read to us, we were all like, "Wow, that is like us like perfectly." That's kind of crazy.
100%,
So
100%.
yeah, I love the new name, so I'm very excited. I'm very happy with our new branding and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we can almost wrap this up. I guess let's see. For our next episode next week, maybe we can focus on some of the issues that we saw with combat sports. I think maybe we'll be talking about like training camp or maybe a different issue. I'm not sure yet. We'll see as we go, I guess.
for sure. So
And yeah,
so
so if
yeah,
there's anything else you guys had, you can just sign off now.
yeah. I think we can cut it here. So again, thank you for joining us on the Extropians, kind of reveal party. This is a Built Differently podcast for myself, Ricky, Sean, Justin, Raul, and Agora Media in the background. We'd like to thank you guys, and we can't wait to bring you along on this journey. It's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be built by all of us. Thanks.